This is a Hot Pie Media original.
Hi, I'm Deb, and this is my podcast.
I don't know anything. I don't know anything. Why racist white guys keep winning elections? Why stocks and bond yields move in opposite directions? Why Deborah calls eggplants aubergines? What color was that dress from 2015? Deborah, tell me, I don't know anything. You're listening to the Deb O'Keefe podcast, the podcast where Deb O'Keefe doesn't know anything.
The last year, in fact, the last couple of years, well, they've just been rough, haven't they? I think everybody's been affected in some way, shape or form negatively because of COVID. Even if it's just emotionally, I know that that's affected me a lot. I still work on, getting through my emotions, yoga, therapy, meditation, it helps. And when Early Bird Gummies walked into the doors of Hot Pie Media Studios, I thought, I don't know, I've never been very good with the gummies. They make me feel weird. I don't know. I always thought it wasn't for me. Maybe I'm not doing it right. But I gave these a try. I gave these Early Bird Gummies a try. They're hemp extract infused. There's 2.5 milligrams of natural THC and 12.5 milligrams of CBD in each gummy. And there's 3 different flavors. These are the strawberry ones right here. They're delicious. And I started off just with like a little nibble on the corner just to relax my nerves. I was a bit anxious to come in here and do the podcast, I'll be honest. And then I did a little bit more and I found the sweet spot. I found the perfect amount for me. It's just half a gummy. Early Bird, I don't know what you did. I don't know how you made these, but you did it right. You're going to get a great microdose of THC when you use Early Birds, but you're not going to feel all whacked out and crazy. And I know that I sound like an old grandma talking about the kids nowadays doing their gummies, but that's how some other ones have made me feel. And I like the fact that the Early Bird guys, it's an Austin-based company, and we're here. We're right here in Austin. We know what we're doing. I say we. I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to this stuff, but these guys do. And I want you to try them out too. You can try them out with a great discount right now. Thanks to Early Bird for this. earlybirdcbd.com/Deb gets you 20% off your first order. You can order as many as you like and you'll get 20% off of their Early Bird products. The Early Bird CBD THC gummies are absolutely delicious, and they really help if you have anxiety, if you're nervous, or if you just want to relax. Maybe you're going out for a hike, got to float on the water today. Take some Early Bird gummies with you and they'll really take the edge off. Again, use my code earlybirdcbd.com/Deb for 20% off your first order and enjoy. Well, you heard the man. It's true. I don't know anything. Welcome to the Deb O'Keefe podcast. It's actually my first episode and I'm excited to meet you all and talk to you guys. It's weird because it's a one-way conversation, which I feel like I'm, I guess being in radio for 20 years, that's what I've been doing, right? But this is the first time I've been on my own, just talking to you guys. And it's been an interesting several months, and I'll get to that in a sec. But so many of you know who I am. My name's Deb O'Keefe. I've been on the radio in Austin, Texas for the last basically 20 years. This is all that I know how to do. I just talk into a microphone. I like to think that I'm funny sometimes. I'm quite opinionated about a lot of things. But do I know anything about anything? Not really. I'm not a specialist about anything, but that's what I decided this podcast is going to be about, is finding interesting people to talk to and learning something and hopefully becoming a little less stupid, maybe a little more involved. And this is something that I want for you guys too, for the listeners, to get involved, know about our community, know about our world, learn new things, and try and have some fun while we're doing it, right? That's the goal. So this is it. This is my podcast. And it's been a fucking journey. Jesus. Did I tell you I was going to swear? Did that come as a shock? My mum's listening. Sorry, mum. I swear a lot, but I'll give you the rundown. If you don't know, if this is the first time you listened to my podcast, you stumbled upon it somehow, somewhere. Thank you. I appreciate it. Tell your friends. But I've been on air in Austin for 20 years, been fired twice, actually 3 times. But the most recent time was in February. And I can't really go into it. There's some legal bullshit going on. But it was a bullshit call. How much can I talk about this? The guy was an asshole. All right, let's just, if you're listening, you know you're an asshole, right? And we didn't agree on things politically, and I think that's essentially the big problem, wrapped up in some other bullshit. But it was a shock. It was a weird day. It was the end of 15 years with my partner of the time, my show partner, a 15-year relationship, a 15-year working relationship, friendship. But it was more than that. It was a 15-year baby, right? A project, something that we birthed, we created, and we added to, and we tweaked over the years for you guys, for our listeners, for our friends, for people to get to work in a good mood. Morning radio, that's what we do. And I've struggled with mental health difficulties for several years now, and I've been very open about talking about it on air most of the time. There are times when I haven't been able to talk about it. If you've suffered depression or anxiety or panic attacks, any of those things, then you know that there's times when you want to talk about it and times that you don't. But in times on air when I would sometimes feel really shitty about myself, or in life just feeling shitty about myself, and what am I doing? Why am I here? Am I actually contributing to anything in the world? That has been a steady theme in my mind for at least the last 10 years. Like, what am I doing here? Am I helping anyone? Am I adding to anything? And there were times when I would actually verbalize that, and I would say those words, something along those lines on air, and I would get the most supportive, wonderful, and very genuine. I would say these things very honestly from the heart, and get some wonderful responses from people saying, look, I have an hour and a half commute or an hour and a half each way, and I would pull my fucking hair out if I didn't have someone to listen to in the morning. So that's what you do. That's what you do for people. And it did give me a somewhat sense of purpose. And that was a huge loss for me, that I'm not there for all those people anymore. Now, you're fine. You'll find someone else, right? I'm not the be all end all of morning radio. I know that, and I've come to terms with that. And maybe I always knew that, there's always going to be someone out there funnier, better, cleverer. That's not even a real word. More clever, smarter. But losing also, so being fired from something you've done for 15 years, you face the fear of losing your identity, right? This is what you do. This is what you've been doing. My most recent ex-boyfriend, that'll come up a lot. My most recent, we're very good friends still, has me in his phone as Deb O'Keefe. I've told this story a couple of times to some friends because I kind of laugh at it, but it's also sad and makes you think. But when we first started dating, he lived in San Antonio, so he wasn't aware of my radio show. But we would go out and people would say, oh, are you Deb? Like Jason and Deb. And he thought that was really funny. So he had me in his phone as Deb. And I remember he might have been one of the first people I spoke to after I got fired. And I said, I'm not Deb anymore. Like, what the fuck? And he said, shut up. You'll always be Deb. But it makes you think, right? Are we just this one-dimensional representation, part representation of our life? Like, I did that for 4 hours a day. But it was a huge piece of me. And did it define me? No. Does one thing that we do define us? I mean, I don't know. I would hope not, right? If you're a human, there's 100 sides to you, right? You're not only the relationships you have with all your different family members, whether you have kids, grandkids, you're a granddad to some people, you're an auntie, you're a cousin, you're a friend, you're a coworker, you're a funny guy, whatever it might be, should work define us. I mean, that's a hard That's a hard thing to think about. I don't think it does, but after being somewhere for so long, you start thinking about that in that way, right? So the uncoupling, gosh, thanks. Who uncoupled? Was it initially Gwyneth and... It was Gwyneth Paltrow and Chris Martin, wasn't it, who did the first uncoupling, or they called it uncoupling. I love that phrase. It's brilliant, conscious uncoupling. But my uncoupling from my previous employer led to lots of these thoughts and conversations with myself. And then if you think about it, and I don't know the actual psychological terminology for these things, but don't you have like 7 stages of grief or 7 stages of after something bad has happened, right? Like you go denial, anger, and you got to go through them all. And that's what they say. If I was smarter, I'd have looked them up and had them for you, but you can look it up, right? Just Google it. But yeah, so I went through all of these things. The loss of my Debness, fear about the financial side of things. I own a home, I had a mortgage. I live on my own. I've got shit to pay for. I bought a new car last year, not new, but new to me. And, that's the scariest thing right in the beginning is money. And that sucks too. I shouldn't be scared and not been able to sleep because of money worries. I'm not the only one. There's millions of people out there who are way, way worse off than me. So I didn't even want to think about that as a big issue, but it was, obviously. And then the loss of this thing that my radio partner and I had made together, all the bits that we created, all the jingles for funny little things. I mean, it's all bullshit really at the end of the day, but that was our bullshit. And he can't use it anymore and I can't use it anymore. So these things are literally gone. They're dead. These funny things that we used to do for 15 years are dead. I'm going to be stealing some of them and recreating them here for those of you who listened to the Jason and Deb program, because I think they were damn funny and they were my babies, and let's repurpose them. But that was a big loss for me for some of the funny things. And then moving forward, who could I picture myself being? Did I want to continue to be in morning radio? What did that mean to me? Did I maybe want to do a different day part of radio? Did I want to move towns? If you know anything about anything right now in media, radio is just being more and more conglomerated. It's being more and more voice tracked, as it's called in the industry, with no actual live talent in the studio. It's all piecemeal done, oftentimes not even in the town where you're listening to that station. And that's a real sad thing to go through as well. But, did I want to stay in that? Did I want to recommit to that again? Because it was heartbreaking, the loss. But then, let's look at that in a light way. I started to think of me. For years, I thought of myself as like, this is my art. Jason and I would kind of joke, but we would create this thing, right? This show, these bits. And that was what we did. We were creative people. And I sort of thought myself outside of the corporate structure of radio. But once I was out of it, I realized how entrenched in it I was and how I sort of felt. And this is not to put things like people who've served time in prison and people who've been in the army for a long time, and they're just the two I can think of. But I felt institutionalized by this thing that I had always thought was, security and safety, 401k, health insurance, corporate structure. That got fucking sold down the river when our parent company sold us to the previous individual who fired me. Corporate structure bullshit after that. But I came to see that not being in it anymore, it was more of a oh God, I'm starting to sound so cliche now, more of a cage than this, welcoming arms of structure and support. And did I want to go back to that? Did I deserve maybe a chance to do something else? And so it took some time. It took some time for my brain to calm the fuck down, first of all. Huge anxiety about so much, identity, money, career, what was going to happen, everything. I've also got 4 animals at home, guys. This is Blue Boy right behind me. If you're not watching, but you're a listener in Austin, you've probably met Blue Boy along the way, but he's dead now. That's my dead dog behind me. He's still the picture on my phone as well. I've got 4 other animals. I'm a real dick. I love them a lot, but like Blue Boy's, he's my soulmate. But anyway, yeah, I've got a house full of animals. I'm concerned about that. Brady had to have ACL surgery at the beginning of the year. There's just lots of things that go through your head, but identity and where I wanted to be was just the biggest ones, right? I could deal with the loss and the grief. I can work on that. It's the future and the unknown, right? I feel like with therapy, and I do online meditation, it's really weird. I'm in this weird world that I love of guided online meditation, that is a progressive type of meditation that helps you get rid of a lot of emotions that are wrapped around events that have happened in your life, and having some mild PTSD to some traumatic events that have happened to me. This has really helped me. And so I continued this throughout the early stages of being fired. And it really, really helped me sort of keep going with that meditation journey of not being freaked out about stuff that's happened in the past. But it also, I told them about my fear of the future and the worry of the future. And so we worked on that too. But let me tell you, it's still there. Gosh, it really is still there, the worry of the future. But you can only live in today. So that's what I keep telling myself. Today is just the day. This is the moment. And this is what I'm doing. And this is where I am. But like I said, it took me months. It took me months and months to get there, to decide to do this. And along the way, changing my mind a million times. When you have an idea about something, professional, I don't know, what shoes to buy. There's something as trivial as that. You ask for your friends, right, for advice, and you talk to your family. And when it comes to professional things, maybe you reach out to peers. You reach out to people in the same industry as you to run things by them. Well, that's been an enlightening journey as well, because I have discovered some fucking snakes out there, some real shitty people giving shitty advice, all wrapped up in nice advice. And that to me was a real shock to me. But it was good. It was good to see those things and see them for what they are. And then I realized at the end of the day, I've got to stop asking people what they think and what they think I should do. I should just do it. My brother said to me, just fucking do it. Get it started, just do it. And I was consumed with making this the most perfect podcast, right? With everything lined up, everything scripted, boxed out, lined up perfectly. But that's not life, is it? That is not life. So here it is. I'm here. I'm finally here with the name down. God, you guys should see how many names I went through on this podcast. And then there were some themes, and then there was some tertiary podcasts that were going to be out over here, but this was always going to be the main one, but there was going to be these other ones. And then the way it looks, the way I look, that's another level of insecurity and anxiety that is going to come with this podcast, is that it's on camera. I'm looking at the camera right now if you're just listening to this audio, and that's fine. Either way you want to listen or watch, it's great. It's great quality. It really is. It sounds brilliant and it looks good, except I'm on the camera and I don't like having my picture taken or being on film. So it's a bit awkward for me. And women, we just study ourselves. I know men do too, actually. That was a little bit dismissive. That's why we need to shift our focus, right, a little bit on not just us so much, our own selves, about everybody. We focus on ourselves, right? We look at ourselves and see our flaws more than anybody else. We're our own worst critics. So there's a screen in front of me and I don't even want to look at it. I'll just look at the camera every now and then. Just don't look at the screen. Just do this. I don't want to look. And it's easier that way so I don't criticize myself, because I do that so much. I've noticed how badly I treat myself. If my friends spoke to me like this, they wouldn't be my friends anymore. If I spoke to people the way I think about myself, they wouldn't be my friends anymore. And there's a lot of I think my friends back home would probably call it like hippy dippy talk about, the self and taking care of oneself mentally, emotionally, and everything. But it's all true. It's all true. We need to be kind to ourselves. And if that means you write an affirmation down every day, or you just say it every day, or you just think it, I'm really trying to work hard to be nicer to myself as well. It's a work in progress. We're still going with that. And this whole not having a real job thing doesn't help, does it? But, yeah, the look of the podcast, the sound, the theme, what I want, it was all too much until I just said, it's just got to be simple. It's just got to be the Deb O'Keefe podcast, talk about my life. This is a bit serious, I suppose, because I'm telling you about some crazy shit that happened this year. But moving forward, what this is going to be, and things may change, but I want this to be is funny, thoughtful, and kind. Now, does that mean I'm going to have some people on the podcast sitting right here next to me, or on a Zoom call that are not going to take the piss out of me? Oh yeah. I expect that. I want that. Come here, make fun of me. Let's have a laugh. But let's be kind to animals. Let's be kind to people that don't have a voice. Let's champion those people that don't have a voice. And let's be kind to ourselves. Let's be kind to ourselves. So that's what the podcast is going to be about. But it's also going to be about like my life, which sounds dumb to those of you who don't even know who I am, but God damn it, some crazy shit happens to me. It is the weirdest thing. My friend Jason used to say to me, your life seems made up. And it does. I don't go out there creating weird situations, I don't think. I don't even go out much. But shit happens to me. I almost died this year. I'm not even, that's not a throwaway statement like, oh my God, I died. No. I was in the ICU. I was in intensive care, hooked up to everything, with a doctor allegedly telling me, because I wasn't really there mentally, I had checked out, but telling me that they needed my will, that they needed to see my advance directive. Am I an organ donor? I accidentally overdosed on Tylenol this summer, guys. I got sick. I had a fever. I had something wrong with my stomach. I didn't know what it was. I was vomiting all day, but I'm an idiot, right? I had a trip planned to Florida, and I'm like, they're not going to let me on a plane. I was going to see my friend Kyle, Florida man Kyle. I was so excited, been putting the trip off for over a year because of COVID. So I just thought, I'll just keep taking Tylenol. I've got this 103.5 fever. The Tylenol, yeah, that'll help. That's what my friends do when their kids have a fever. They give them Tylenol. And I just thought, it's only over the counter. It's fine if I take it more than every 8 hours, right? Well, guess what? It's not fine when you do that, because once I finally went to see my doctor, and she graciously gifted her some of my wee and my blood. And she sent me to get a CT scan, because my stomach hurt so much. I could barely walk. It hurt so much. And of course, this terrible fever and headache and whatnot. I'm sitting in the office waiting for my CT scan. And she calls me. The doctor actually calls my phone. I was like, all right, well, hi. She said, stop what you're doing right now. It was like Monopoly, right? Do not collect your $200. Do not get your CT scan. Go straight to the ER. You're very ill. And in fact, I don't really remember exactly what she said on the phone. I just thought, I've got to go to the ER. And this is how calm I'm taking it, because my brain had started to go really dumb. That's not the technical term. There is a medical term for it, but go really dumb is a good one, because that's how I felt. Basically, I was in organ shutdown. My liver had gone into failure because of the excess amounts of Tylenol that I unwittingly taken too much of. Now, when that happens, they explain to me all of the toxins in your body they got to go somewhere, right? The liver's not working to fix it. So they go to your brain. So they turn you into a raving idiot. I look back on some text messages that I'd send to my friends from the ICU at Dell downtown, and they don't make sense. It's absolute gibberish, gobbledygook, nonsense, made up words in there. And I do remember one little thing about the ICU was that I saw an octopus, and it was purple. And it was gorgeous. It wasn't real. They don't have them in the ICU there. But that was it. A couple of days in the ICU there, and they popped me on an ambulance and sent me to Houston to get a liver transplant. And fit as a fiddle, get a liver transplant because I accidentally took too much Tylenol. It didn't happen, guys. I'd show you the scar because it'd probably be pretty cool, but would I even be out of hospital by now? I don't know. I don't know how that works, but somehow my body bounced back, and after 5 days of being in hospital, they allowed me to come home. Big shout out to my friend Brandy, who drove to Houston to hang out with me in the hospital, and they let me go home with her. Of course, thanks to Elias and Erica and Sean and everybody who else came to the hospital and helped me. And I don't even remember. I don't remember the whole thing, but I have a near-death story. I have another one. But this one happened this year in the middle of all of this craziness of being fired and COVID still lingering on and social justice issues in the world in the shitter. And what can I tell you? That's what I'm going to bring you guys. That is the shit I have got. Let me tell you this other story. This happened to me the other day. Oh my God. I got locked out of my car. I don't even think that's possible anymore, right? It's not 1985 and we've all got fobs that, most of us, sorry, that might be a bit snobby thing to say, but the technology has moved on that you can't lock your car if your keys are in it because your keys are fob and the car just knows, hey, the key's in here. But I had a parcel to drop off at the post office and I ran in. The reason I have my car, I've bought it 3 times, this same car over the last 10 years or so. Because I can lock the car with the engine running. So when I've got my dogs with me, the AC stays on. Most important feature of the car for me. So I ran in. I didn't even lock the door because I could see the car from the post office. I just ran in, and when I came back, the car was locked, but I had no fob on me. I was literally checking my bra. That's where I keep my fob a lot of times, ladies. You probably do the same. I had no pockets that day. My phone is in the car. And I'm just standing there looking at my car with my 2 dogs inside. One of them, Alfie, the little Frenchie, rehome, adopt, don't shop. I'd got him from someone who'd bought him. But just standing there on the windowsill, and I'm pretty sure that little asshole had popped the button and locked the door. That's the only way it could happen, right? I don't understand how it can happen. But I thought, this is fine. I've got an extra fob at home. How do I get home? I'm about 3 miles from home. I could walk, but that was like a 2-hour round trip probably. But dogs are in the car. How much petrol have I got? Are they going to be able to last? I don't know. And all at once, it's like the clouds parted and the sun shone on me, although it was already, it was 100 degrees, it was very hot. This lady drove by and she's like, "What up, Deb O'Keefe?" And I said, hey, nice listener, lady. I'm locked out of my car. It's really nice to meet you. And she's just so nice, but she looks at me and she said, "I'm really sorry. I'm on my lunch break. I got to go. Bye. I love you." And I said, "Love you." And there I am, just locked out. It's like I was just locked out of my car with my animals in there, my phone in there and everything. And I'm not really near to home. I had no idea what to do. Absolutely not. But no one stopped. No one asked anything. And I don't expect it. And it did resolve the situation. I asked a favor and a favor came through, but it made me think because about a month before this happened to me this week. About a month before this happened, again, almost exactly same scenario. Pull up to the post office, run in, drop a package off into the little mail slot. It's already got its postage on it. And I ran back out to the car, but this time there's someone standing outside the post office, just like I was the other day when I got locked out of my car. And he seemed confused and it worried me just seeing this kid. I mean, maybe it was a kid, I don't know, 30 years old, but he seemed confused. He was checking his pockets for his phone and then he'd find it and then he'd look at it and then he'd put it in another pocket. And something just worried me about the situation. And I thought, he looks, I just said, "Hey, are you okay? Do you need a hand with anything?" And he was slightly incoherent. But, he said, "No, I think I'm okay. I said, "Well, look, you're just standing here. There's no other cars in the car park. Do you need a lift somewhere? Is there something I can do?" And I finally kind of got it out of him where he needed to go. And it wasn't too far out of my way. And it's a few miles. So I took him and on the way sort of engaged him in conversation a little bit. And he just seemed sort of confused. And I thought, this was my brother or my friend that maybe they took medication for something and they suddenly ran out and they're just stuck somewhere. They could use a ride. So I gave the guy a ride. What else am I going to do? I'm unemployed. I haven't got a job. They're just running errands like they mean anything. So I drop him off and I felt good about it, right? And I was like, that's what you do. That's what you do. That's what you're supposed to do when you can help. I may have been called an old busybody before for getting involved, but I don't know. Guy seemed like he needed some help. And then fast forward to this week when I'm at the post office and I'm standing there just like fucked and I just don't know what to do. Like, where do you go? I swear before cell phones, I think you would just go in. If you were stuck, you might go into a petrol station and ask for help. I don't even remember, it wasn't before mobile phones, but it was before they were smartphones. And you certainly didn't take them out of the country. I went to Thailand on my own for almost 3 weeks. I volunteered at an elephant sanctuary. Oh, you're such a good do-gooder. I just love elephants. And I traveled around Thailand. Did it all without a phone, without maps on my phone or anything. And at 26, I did that. I was just fine. And here I am, 46, and I'm standing in a post office car park with nothing. My car's running with my animals in it, and I don't know what to do. I mean, get at me. Leave some comments below or slide into my DMs. You can find me on social media at Deb O'Keefe. What do? You can't call anyone. And there were lots of people coming in and out of the post office and nobody said anything to me. And I didn't say anything to anybody because it's COVID times. Oh, also I'd forgotten to put my mask on. You fucking idiot. I'd forgotten to put my mask on. So I felt bad even asking anybody a question because I'm vaccinated, but you can still spread shit. So I thought, what do I do? Do I go into the post office and ask them for help? No. You ever seen an angry postal service employee behind the counter? I'm not stereotyping all of them, but they're not really that helpful. They're not really that friendly. And that's a broad judgment. I have met some wonderful ones, but they're busy, right? And they're working for the government. They're not getting paid enough. What are they going to do? Plus, I don't have a mask on. I don't feel good about going inside. So I realized that the entrance to the post office is a very small car dealership, sort of like a, what was it? I'll give them a shout out. R&D Motors. That's what they were called. I saw maybe like 15, 20 cars in the parking lot, used cars. And then there's a little trailer. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm going to swallow my pride or, get some courage up, whatever. I don't know. Just, you got to get something done. All right. You're going to have to reach out and ask someone for a favor, a stranger for a favor. So I walked up to the mobile and the little trailer thing and was about to knock on the door and he opened it before me and gave me a fucking heart attack. But guy walks out and I said, hi. And he's thinking, great, got a sale here. And I said, look, this is really bizarre. I'm just going to be straight off the bat and tell you I need a favor and you don't know me and I don't deserve a favor, but my dog just locked him and my other dog in the car with my phone and the key fob and all this shit. And I'm stuck here and I've just had this harebrained idea that maybe, and I don't know anyone's phone numbers, by the way, because it's 2021. And that made me think I need to learn some phone numbers again. I think the last person's phone number I knew was my friend Will. For some reason, it stuck in my brain. But I couldn't even remember it. And I think if I'd have remembered it and called him, he would have come and picked me up and helped. But the only thing I could think to do was to call the car dealership from where I'd purchased this car and the last two cars, exactly the same cars. They're Infinitis, pre-owned, FX35. They don't even call that anymore. It's now the QX70 or something. Anyway, small SUV, whatever, no big deal. It's just a car that can lock and keep the car engine running, as we all know from this story. So asked this bloke, I said, hey, the only thing I think of is this is my situation. If I call the dealership, I'd just taken my car into service to get an oil change and such. And I've known them for years. I even think they were a client once. Get at me, Austin Infinity, if you want to advertise on this podcast. It's cool. But known my service writer, Nick LaFave, hero for years now. And that's all I could think of. Call him. I don't know what they can do. So I called and, oh, by the way, the guy hands me a landline, a cordless landline. I felt so weird. I didn't know how to dial it. I'm like, do I press on and then dial? And I couldn't hear anything. And like, I don't understand, like how the tides have turned. I don't understand old technology. But anyway, I gave him the phone and he had to Google it for me as well. And so I'm just feeling like a real asshole right now asking this stranger for a favor. But he dials a number, hands me the phone. I press 2 for service or whatever it is. And I press 3 for Nick's extension. And I'm stoked. And he said, Austin Infinity, can you please hold? And puts me on hold. And at this point, I'm like, oh, this is never going to end up being the dogs. Are they still there in the car? Has someone stolen the car? Someone smashed a window? Finally, Nick comes back. He's been busy working. And I was like, Nick, don't hang up again, please. This is Deb. I'm locked. I don't know what to do. I'm locked out of my car. I'm at this place. And he's like, we'll fix it. We'll handle it. I'll send someone down in they have a courtesy shuttle for people, I guess, dropping their cars off, or I don't know. I just appreciate it, whatever they were going to do. I said, look, I've got an extra fob at the house. If someone could come by and grab me and then take me to the house, I grab the fob and come back. By the way, I don't need a key because I live a keyless existence. I've got one of those touchpad locks on my front door, and don't need a key. It's brilliant for getting locked out. But so he says, yeah, don't worry, we'll send someone. And I was like, great, thank you very much. Gave the blokey from R&D Motors his phone back. The guy was just not impressed at all. Not impressed, or even impressed with that, but it's kind of a funny story. He did not seem like amused by it like I kind of was, but regardless, he gave me the phone to use. It was very nice. I went back and waited by the car, and I don't know how long it took. I didn't have a watch on my phone. It was in the car, so it's just like seeming forever. I see an Austin Infinity car pull in, and I'm stoked. And Cordell jumps out. I asked his name. I didn't just know him, but he jumps out, and they have made me a key. I don't know how they have. Maybe there's information on a chip inside my fob that's in my file at the dealership because I bought the car. They made a key for my car that unlocked it, and I could have kissed him. And if it hadn't been COVID, I probably would. But yeah. They came and rescued me with a key, and I said, look, I'm just going to give this back to you in case this ever happens again. And I know that you have a key in a safe place. So there, that's just it. 2 examples of things that happened to me, just one this week. And then, then the almost dying thing. How do you ask for help nowadays if you don't have your phone? Are we asking strangers? Is it COVID that's made us hesitant to ask strangers for help, or is it just because it's really creepy to ask strangers for help? I don't know. Like I said, if you have answers to that, or how to use a landline, you get at me at that one too. You can leave comments. If you're not watching this video, you can watch it on YouTube, and then you can subscribe to the Deb O'Keefe podcast. You can like it. You can review it. Apparently, that's what the kids are doing nowadays. So if you're cool, if you're down, then you would leave a nice review. That's for you, Mum. All right. We don't have the same surname, so no one will know that my mum's writing a review about my podcast. But yeah, that's it. One thing I would like to introduce, and I don't know how we're going to do this yet because I just started working at this place. It's right here, Hot Pie Media. This is where we do the podcast. They are podcast producers extraordinaire. Beautiful studio space. My man G is over there. What up, G? What's up? There he is. He's my producer. He's making this happen. In fact, he made the graphics of the intro video, which I just love. My friend Star Soldman, he made the song. I just love it. It's ridiculous, but I find it irreverent and fun. Yeah, this place have a great setup. You got a podcast? You want to bring it here? You can do that, I'm sure. But yeah, I want to say thanks to these guys for having me and hosting me, and us being partners together. It's pretty cool. There's a lot of other podcasts in this family too. But what we're going to be doing on this show, and like I said, I don't know what we're going to do because at the studio, I don't know how it works, but we're going to bring back the I Love You call. The I Love You call is an iconic segment that we did on our show before. And some people erroneously called it a prank call. Twas not a prank call. The I Love You call essentially is we call a business anywhere. We used to call out of the country, and then they cut off our long distance at work. So we couldn't do that anymore. But we would call it a business and just have a nice conversation, ask something about their wares or their hours, or do they serve vegetarian fare? And then at the end of the phone call, let's try and get them to say, I love you, Like you would say goodbye to your mum. Bye, mum, love you. Or if you're English, you go bye, love you, bye, love you. Love you. Do any other cultures do that? We really elongate our goodbyes, and it's kind of ridiculous. But that's the thing with the I love you call. Even the lady at the post office that couldn't stop and help me because she had to get back to work, she said I love you, because that's the thing that I do with the listeners, right? We're going to do this. We're going to say this. We're going to say at the end of each podcast, we're going to say I love you because I mean it. And even if you don't mean it back, say it back, spreading some love. Also, you can say I love you to yourself and mean it. But Guy, do you think, do we have the technology to call someone and record it and do the I love you call?
I think we can work it out.
He said he thinks we can work it out. So we should probably do that like off air and talk about those things. But what do I know? I don't know anything, guys. I don't know shit about shit. But this is my podcast. Thanks for listening to me ramble. If you have any specific stories you want to hear about, like I said, you can get at me on my social media at Deb O'Keefe. Like us on Facebook, the Deb O'Keefe podcast. Most social media platforms you'll find me. Just let's be friends. Yeah, let's be friends with the Deb O'Keefe podcast. Thanks for listening today. Thank you to our sponsors, and thanks to Hot Pie Media. This is a Hot Pie Media original production. Thanks to G, my producer. Thanks to Blue Boy for dying. Cheers, buddy. Actually, you know what? Blue didn't die. I killed him. I had him put down. I can talk about it now without crying hysterically because I've gone through a lot of therapy. But he was the best boy in the world. What up, Blue Boy? Love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening. You can find more episodes and all of our other Hot Pie Media originals baked fresh daily at our home online at hotpiemedia.com, the Hot Pie Media YouTube channel, or wherever you listen to podcasts.